This is Dr. Tori Wieston Serdan, and you are listening to Reimagining Youth Work. All right, y'all. Before we get into Gayle Wieston Serdan's podcast episode, I really wanted to be able to interview a couple of her students, just a few, because I think she has many hits, as I would call them. But I wanted to interview just a few of her students to hear from them specifically how her mentorship, her guidance over the years has benefited them, and also what they have to say about how she shows up as a white woman in educational spaces and in mentoring spaces. The first guest that I have with me is Michael Uzoruru. I've been so nervous about pronouncing this brother's name correctly.
You got it.
But he is one of Gayle's early students. Michael is responsible for a lot of the hits that you know and love, and I'm going to let him talk a little bit about that. So, Michael, just first tell us a little bit about who you are and, you know, all the hits that you've been behind. Hook us up with your credits.
I'm a producer, musician, artist, and some of the people I've worked with are Beyonce, Frank Ocean, Jay-Z, SZA, Anderson .Paak, some others. Something I just recently did was scoring the music for Michelle Obama's documentary on Netflix.
Yes. The only reason I watched it, by the way, was to listen to your music.
That was an interesting one to work on. Anything political is always interesting. Obviously, you know, there's just like the whole political aspect of things, but then, you know, you can't deny the Black excellence that is Michelle Obama. You know, that's one of the reasons to do something like that. And yeah, so those are some of like the most recent things I've done. And I really got a lot of my foundation and my start from working with Miss Serdan in school and some of the programs that she put in. Specifically, like really the biggest one was probably music appreciation. That was mind changing and life changing as well. When she started talking about like sampling specifically, that was like, as like a young Black kid who was super into like, you know, music and like production and hip hop and like rap, making beats. It's just like, I know all about this already. I can be that kid in class who's just like raising their hands and just almost being obnoxious with all the answers. You know what I mean? Yeah. And there wasn't many classes like that for somebody who had the type of mind that I had, which was like a very creative mind. It just felt like it was the type of class for somebody who wasn't supposed to be in the super traditional, antiquated academic system that was in place.
I hear you on that. So talk about a little bit about the mentorship side, like how your relationship with her has impacted like who you are as a musician, your career today.
In my line of work, being a producer, you do have to sort of be a mentor and a teacher and just an overall supportive person. And early on, like in school, I can maybe say she's probably the only teacher I've had who's been like that, you know, and who's actually left a lasting impact. And also just like allowing kids to be able to reach out to her, to be able to get in contact with her whenever they can, during, you know, her curriculum. And then outside of that too, you know, after I graduated, she was still someone who I kept in contact with, and all of that is mentorship, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So I asked her directly about, you know, her whiteness and about like how she would show up in spaces. And I specifically asked her, like, why don't you have problems with Black and brown kids? Like, why are you able to sort of overcome racial barriers, etc.?
Yeah.
And she didn't really, you know, she was just like, I just do.
Right.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So I kind of want to hear it from a student's perspective.
Yeah.
What that was like. What did you see different from her that maybe you didn't see from other white teachers in particular?
I think it all starts within the heart. So probably just within her heart, there just probably just was not that inherent bias. You know what I mean? But then also then there's active things that one can do to make sure that that's not a thing. And I think one of the main things was accountability, not being afraid to be wrong, and giving kids the space to tell her how she's made them feel. You know what I mean? And when you open yourself up to that, you don't open yourself up to being perfect. You open yourself up to growing and learning. And also when you treat each child as an individual, you realize that how you treat them is not how you treat the next person, and the next person is very specific and customized. And I think that's really just it. I think it really just boils down to like, and also just being aware of her whiteness as well, and all of that is another thing. But I think one thing that just came to my mind right now was her desire to relate. Probably something that made that just not a thing. You know, made race not a thing. It just became just like who we are as people. And then also not ignoring my Blackness, you know what I mean? But also not pandering to it, honoring it, acknowledging it, responding to the humanity within that, you know?
Yeah.
That's how I would say.
That's beautiful. Thank you. I am now sitting with another one of Gayle's former students, Danny Mills. You've already heard from Michael Uzaruru about his experiences with Gayle. I want to talk to Danny because Danny is another student that is close to Gayle's heart, someone that she respects as a musician as well, someone that she has a history with. And I'm going to ask him similar questions about Gayle. First, I want to hear more about him. Danny Mills is dope musician. Been out there, been doing real work, been doing work with a lot of your faves. He's got some street cred in the music industry at this point. He's been doing it for a cool minute. So Danny, tell us a little bit about what you're doing as a musician, what you have done. Give us all the creds.
I'm an artist, producer, and a session player. And so I have 2 projects of my own out. One is The Recital. The other one that came out last year is called Agape. I'm currently, especially with quarantine, which has helped, been locked away working on my 3rd project. So doing a lot of recording right now. Before the industry shut down, I was touring with Jadena and Charlie Puth and one of Quincy Jones' newer artists, Shalea. And I've got the opportunity to just record with a bunch of people. I don't want to do a whole bunch of names, but I get to record and to play live shows with a lot of cool people who are super famous and some that you've never heard before. So I'm very fortunate to do music for a living.
But all of the former students that I'm interviewing are folks that are that are doing work. Like this is their work every day, working in the music field, which I know Gayle cares a lot about, right? And respects and values. So tell us a little bit about your relationship with Gayle, how it came to be, and how it impacted who you are today as a musician, as an artist.
Oh, okay. Well, that's easy. Gayle pretty much is responsible for me as an artist. Like she changed my life completely. Because I remember I took her class my junior year when I was like 16. And I don't know, the year before, I think I just really thought it'd be cool to learn piano because I got really into producers, or like every song I heard, I'd be like, man, who did that beat? Like, who made that?
Yeah.
And then I was like, I need to learn how to do that. And all the producers I used to see, they all composed from a keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of like their main workstation tool. So I was like, all right, I got to learn some stuff. And I think the movie Ray had came out at that time. So like, I really was just in this mood of like playing keys. And I took her class, and I really didn't want to like do the work of piano. I just wanted to write my own songs. So when I was in her class, she would always be like, your ear is great. And, you know, it's nice that you have these ideas, but I need you to read Fur-Elise right now. You know, I need you to actually, I need to grade you. You need to do things. So it forced me to learn music, which is amazing. I always felt like she always considered me. She always would put me first a lot of times, even though I don't think I was the best student in her class, but I think she saw that I was serious. So I think she took the time, and that takes a special gift of discernment to see who really, you know, is going to take what you're giving them and, you know, make it something. And then the people who are going to take it just to get the grade they need for their elective and then move on. And she's just always there. I'll never forget this story. It was my summer between my junior and my senior year, where somebody had donated an old Yamaha motif and then an old Yamaha like recording mixer before everybody used computers to do everything.
Yeah.
And it was gonna sit there all summer, and I'm in her class the last day of school, and I'm kid you not, I'm just joking. I'm just like, it'd be crazy if you just let me take that. And she was just like, oh, for real? You want that? Okay, I'm gonna drop it off at your house tomorrow. And I was like, oh, I was just saying stuff. I didn't even mean it. And the next day she drove it to my house, and I had that all summer. And that's that piece of gear that I could never afford at that time is responsible for me learning how to be a producer that whole summer.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think I remembered that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. But that's what happened. That happened, and her mom gave me a piano.
Wow.
They were getting rid of upright pianos at the house.
Yeah.
And she gave me a Rhodes piano that she was like, if you could fix this up, you can have it, which I still have it, which is back there somewhere.
Look at that.
Background.
Oh, yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah. So she's, I always tell people, I mention her all the time to people, she's responsible for me having the life I have.
Yeah.
So
I do remember that you and Mickey were like in a group, like way long ago. And I do remember she was like, you guys had a gig like in Long Beach, and we drove all the way out there to listen to
Yep, we weren't even old enough to be in there. Like they had us like hiding in like a closet until it was time to play. And that was our first show. And I was his producer. I was Michael's producer. And then I was like on the hook. I was kind of like the Pharrell, the Dre, the Kanye, like just like on the hook producer. And that was our first time. I remember that. And then we did a couple of like lunchtime rallies.
So one of the things I wanted to just explicitly ask was about like how her whiteness shows up. So like, what was your experience like dealing with her over other white teachers? You know, why was it different? What did she do differently? What can white teachers and white mentors learn from her ultimately?
Got you. She's 100% comfortable of being herself all the time. Like she never tried to be less white. Because if you know her, you know that.
Yes.
And then she also respects everyone and everyone's culture. And as a music teacher, it's really beautiful because her job as a music educator is to study Black people. She has to study us because we're responsible for the music that she teaches, which is mainly jazz and soul, R&B, all that stuff. You know, she plays a Hammond organ. Like an old Black man. You know what I'm saying? So like she has to study our culture so she understands us. So when we get in a classroom setting, she doesn't have to change who she is to understand who I am. You know, and so she never has to do anything corny or different or weird or like try to fit in. Like, we respect her because she knows what she's talking about. And then when she plays, if you closed your eyes, you wouldn't know what color she is. You wouldn't know she's white, you know. And yeah, she just takes the time. And I think if teachers took the time to like know more about their students, like, she was always like, what's the hip hop you guys listen to? What's the pop R&B song? You know, we'd always get those snuck in our assignments because she knew that would encourage us to learn. She knew that if I played John Legend, it would make me want to learn music, or we learned Alicia Keys, it would make us want to like know what the notes mean and actually read it, instead of just like forcing us to do, whatever the standard curriculum is.
Yeah, absolutely. There was one thing that I remember that I think still to this day kind of makes me teary-eyed. I think she was doing a concert. I know I'm not going to remember the piece right now. It was Gershwin. She was doing a concert and she was playing a Gershwin piece, and it was hard. And I remember her practicing for it or whatever, but she had asked you to be a page turner.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember like kind of pressing you, like, you just gonna turn pages? Like, she not paying you or nothing? And then but I'll never forget your response was like, are you kidding me? Like, you said something to the effect of like, turning pages for Gayle is like passing basketballs to Michael Jordan. And I'll never forget. Yeah, I never forget that you said that. And I mean, even today when I talk about that, I'm just like, it gives me goosebumps because you like had that level of respect for her.
For me, I was already stressed out about having to turn the pages because I got to kind of read it. Yeah. I still have to keep up. I have to know where she is because it's such a hard piece that she needs both her hands the whole time.
Right.
She can't just take a break and flip it. So for me, I was stressed out because I didn't want to mess that up for her. So I took it seriously. I was honored that she trusted me to do that.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, I heard that. So thank you again. I have one more young person that I wanted to interview in regards to Gayle and the work that she's been doing. I wanted to interview one of her young up-and-comers, Morgan Campbell. You've heard from Morgan Campbell before. She did the What If remix with Gayle. She's done a lot of other things with her as well. But I want Morgan to just tell a little bit about herself, what she's doing musically, and then we'll go from there.
What's up? So, I don't know. This all started really because of the mixing that I've been doing lately. But I'm a songwriter. I'm an artist, producer, engineer. Been mixing lately for YouTuber Deshae Frost and Kelly Sweet. A few other people have been writing records for people. Kyla Shanae mixing her records, and also working on my own EP. Yes. But I'm 19 and really just been engineering, Logic certified because of my mentors, and just running with that, trying to make a living, just doing what I love.
That's what's up. Look at you. You in the studio right now as we speak.
Working.
Always. So yes. The first question I've been asking is just basically tell me a little bit about your relationship with Gayle and how it's impacted like who you are as a musician, as an artist.
Right. So I met Serdan in 9th grade. I was super sad. And she just from jump as a teacher and just as a person had my back and was interested in my well-being. And from then, long story short, I joined Iman, and she became my mentor, my piano teacher, taught me how to play piano, taught me about just music theory and knowing the importance of like the theory with just the creativity and bringing that together as a musician. But throughout my whole journey of not only high school, but to now, she's just been the driving force in like the education part and the learning to the music now that I can use in like my everyday life.
That's what's up. And y'all got Logic certified together.
Yes. paid for it. You know what I mean? Like, so it'll always, I'm grinding hard for my mentors, know that.
I hear you. I feel you. So in terms of Gayle, like as a mentor,
Right.
what has that been like?
She's like the mama you need. Like, she's very balanced with the fun but the serious, and making it known that she cares, but also being willing to be honest and upfront and call you out when you need to be called out, but also willing to be called out. So she's just overall like been like helping me go through my musical journey, helping me learn as not only a woman, but a queer woman in the industry, helping me maneuver how to do things and how to, just move.
I hear it. I hear all of that. One of the questions I've been asking everybody is about how Gayle shows up as a white woman. Because when I talked to her in her podcast interview, I was like, okay, you're a white woman.
Right.
You don't have problems with Black and brown kids. Like, they love you. They, y'all got a good vibe. So I was trying to ask her, like, tell other white people, like, how do you do this? Right. And she was just like, I don't know. Like, she had an answer, but she was just like, I don't know. You know what I mean? So I've been asking her students, what have your experiences been with her as a white educator, as a white mentor? How is she different from other white folks who do this work? I'm trying to get people to understand, like, how can they get on Gayle?
Right.
Yeah.
No, they can't. I hate to say it, but no, I don't know. I never looked at her. I'm going to tell you, like, I don't know. But with her, she's not, I don't know. Like, just with inside of her, I just really feel like she's just a genuine soul. Like, it's not even about her color. You just know she cares. And she's willing to do the research, willing to do the looking into, like, in terms of fitting in. Not even fitting in, but like relating to people of color and to young youth. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like she is just us. Like, I don't look at her color. I just feel like she's just her. It's hard to top because I just feel like she just is just a beautiful soul. Like, simple. That's how I feel.
You know what? And that's pretty much what everybody's been saying. Just like, she's her. She just cares for people.
Yeah.
And that's what
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.